Hello, my name is Caitlin Tillman. I am a music educator and music shop owner, and I want to talk a little bit about purchasing an instrument for a music class. There are so many questions, and I've been doing this for so long, I have seen everything. So I just want to give you some tips and tricks of how to choose the best instrument for your budget and what you're looking for. So I created a chart or a guide to help you in buying an instrument with this information as well. You can find it on social media or send me a message and I will share it with you. The first type of instrument is buying used from a seller. This one, I want to be very careful with this one. I see so many problems. Every single year we have people come into our music shop saying, I was trying to get an instrument. I only had this really small budget, but I found a great price where I got it for $50 or even $100 on Facebook Marketplace or a pawn shop. And, the owner said that it was a great instrument and it was just fine. It would work. And then they, realize, oh, it needs new pads or strings or whatever. And just even a basic tune-up and cleaning could easily run you $200, $300, $400 or more if it has bigger problems. So then your $50 instrument that you bought ends up becoming $500 after you put all those repairs into it, if it's even worth it. And that's if it's even a good brand that's worth putting that money into. So it can be very expensive in the long run. I have told so many people, I'm sorry, you bought this instrument. There's nothing that you can do. It's not worth it. It's unfortunate, but that happens every single year. So be careful. Here's a tip if you're buying a used instrument. Take someone with you, an expert, whether it's a teacher, someone who knows what to look for, or have the seller meet you at a music shop where you can get a quote and the music shop can actually provide some more information. That might even help you in negotiating a price, because if they realize, oh, it's going to cost so much from the music store, then they might even go down lower on the price. So that is a great way to have it verified if you're looking to save money that way. The second option is renting an instrument. This is a really popular instrument. Why? Because you don't have to pay as much upfront. You can pay in installments. A lot of renting companies now will have rent to own, so you get to pay it off and then you get to keep the instrument. There are quality instruments for most renters. And this would be from like a local music shop. Sometimes schools even have their own renting programs. They also sometimes offer a protection program that you can pay for separately, which allows you to return it if it gets damaged. And honestly, if you have a elementary school kid renting an instrument, it's probably going to get damaged. So it's not a bad option to get that protection plan where you can just exchange it, get a brand new one, and keep going with your payments. So those are some benefits of renting. Now here's one con that a lot of music stores won't tell you. And as a renter, we have third parties who rent, so they provide the instruments. By the time you finish paying off your rental, you probably paid double what that instrument actually cost if you were to buy it up front. So maybe more or less, but you're going to pay more for the instrument long term if you're renting. So if you can't afford to pay it up front, you save more money in the long run, but some people don't have that option. Also, a nice benefit of renting is you can return it. So if you rent it for 3 months and just said, nope, I'm not going to keep it, I'm not going to keep paying for it, you can return it and the payments stop. So there are some benefits, pros and cons to renting. The third category I want to talk about is purchasing from a music shop. Now, this could be online like Sweetwater, Music and Arts, or from a local shop like I have here. And the nice thing about this is the reputation will back up the quality of the instrument. So you might have a bigger variety of instruments. You probably have more name brand instruments. Sometimes they have new and used instruments, so you can find something kind of on your budget. And if you're buying a used instrument, they've been repaired and checked out by the music shop. So you're not going to be like, oh, you're going to buy this used instrument and then we're going to charge you another $400 to fix it up. So you kind of have a little bit more security in that sense. The downside of that is I know it's a very expensive investment to buy instruments. Instruments nowadays, depending on the instrument, I mean, there's a big range of instruments, can be hundreds to thousands of dollars. So not everybody has that investment, especially if you have a kid just starting band or orchestra at school and you don't know if they're going to be interested in it next year. You might not want to spend $2,000 to go buy a new instrument. So that would be the con of just purchasing from a music shop. And then here's the fourth option, and this one's becoming a lot more popular, and that is buying one of those cheap online off-brand instruments, usually made from China, like Mendini. Sometimes you can see instruments as low as $80 brand new, and they come with everything you need to get started in this nice packaged little kit for you, ordered on Amazon, and it's great. You have the backup of returning it in 30 days. So there's a lot of benefits to being able to just purchase that. Also, it is cheaper in most cases to buy, let's say if you're buying a flute and it costs you $70 to buy this kit on Amazon. That's going to be cheaper than renting even for a year. There are a lot of downsides though with this. The downside with buying one of these instruments is quality. So a lot of times, and when I was band directing and the kids would come with these cheaper instruments, little screws or pieces would pop off and I could pop it back on, but I'd have to stop the class, be like, oh, my saxophone lost a key, oh, my flute lost a screw, oh, this is stuck. And there's just so many things to fix and repair all the time that sometimes it's not even worth it. And music teachers, band teachers, orchestra teachers will tell you, don't do this, don't bring those instruments in my classroom, because they don't want to deal with it. And it's kind of a headache. They also don't play in tune very well. So that can be another issue if you're playing with a group and you want to play in tune so it sounds good. A lot of these instruments, especially with the string instruments, just don't stay in tune. That can also be discouraging for a younger learner who might already be struggling with trying to learn an instrument. So for these instruments, who I usually recommend, like if you're going to buy one of those cheaper instruments, keep in mind that they probably will last maybe up to a year. They can be good if you're someone who's just like, I just want to test it out. We'll buy it for 6 months to a year. Maybe they're taking private lessons before they even start band, so they're just doing it at home. Or maybe you're a more experienced player, but you just want to have more instruments in your collection. You want to try it out, like, do I like this instrument? This could be a good way just to test it out. So like I said, even if you use it for 6 months to a year, just to test it out, that's cheaper than renting. And then if you're like, okay, I'm ready to upgrade now, my fourth grader, fifth grader has done this for a year, let's look at the next option. So you will have to replace these instruments. They're not going to last you forever. They start to fall apart. They start to rust, or, just get out of tune more. So those are the 4 types of options. Buying used from a seller, that one be careful of. It can be the cheapest, but most of the time it's not, because you end up paying a lot more in repairs that you don't realize. Again, this happens every year. I have so many kids who use their own money and they buy them. They're so excited. They save up their money, and then it's just a big waste. Renting, a great option, especially if you're not looking to pay as much up front and you don't want to commit as much. But again, it can cost more in the long run if it is something that you're going to be like, yeah, we're definitely going to buy this. Straight up buying it, great. If you have the money to do it, go to a nice music shop or online from a reputable store and just buy it out. That's fantastic. Most of us don't have that luxury, but it is a great option if you do. And then, of course, buying those cheaper off-brand kits, just be very careful with those as well. Now, if you have questions, you can send me a message or reach out to your music director at school, or go to a local music shop and ask questions. But of course, the music shops are always going to push you, like, buy our instruments, which I try not to do as much, because I want everybody to have all this information out there so that you can choose what's the best option for you. And be careful when purchasing, when you're trying to save money, of how you're going to do that, what you're willing to sacrifice if you're saving a little bit of money. All right, well, I hope this guide has been helpful. Again, I have a free guide, just a picture that explains all this in bullet points. So Let me know what you think. If you found this video helpful, let me know. I'll make some more videos and guides as well. And with that, I hope everyone has a great time beginning their musical journeys.